Angelina Jolie plays opera's most famous diva in a new movie, all about Maria Callas. Fame, fortune, and success. Everyone thinks that those three things go hand in hand, but as legendary opera singer Maria Callas discovered, great fame and great talent do not always equal great happiness. In the new Angelina Jolie-starring film Maria, which drops on Netflix December 11, we're transported back to the dramatic final days of one of the original divas of modern opera and learn what it was like to be a true greatest of all time. Callas has always been a fascinating character. Marc A. Scorca, CEO and president of advocacy group Opera America, tells TOBA, "You could write an opera about her, about someone who made an indelible impression in her 20s and 30s, and by the time she was 40 was finished as a singer. It's a truly operatic story." Who was Maria Callas? Her significance is lasting. Maria Callas was so famous in her day, and now, nearly 50 years after her death, that even if you're an opera novice, you've probably heard of her. Born in 1923 in New York City shortly after her Greek family emigrated, Maria Anna Cecilia Sofa Kalogeropoulos received training in singing in Greece while a teen, then became famous for her bel canto style of singing. Think of a broad, flexible voice and drama in how she interpreted the music while in Italy. The palette of vocal colors she could bring to her singing, the nuance of her interpretation, and her emphasis on language in her performances was extraordinarily subtle and powerful, Scorca says. In her prime, she gave 120% of what she had to give vocally. But Callas had a troubled early life, particularly with her mother, Angelina Callas, who wrote a book, My Daughter Maria Callas, in 1960 that focused on her challenges. In a Time magazine article from 1957, Callas said of her mother, "I'll never forgive her for taking my childhood away. During all the years I should have been playing and growing up, I was singing or making money. Everything I did for them was mostly good and everything they did to me was mostly bad." Callas debuted in Greece in 1941 and by the following year was taking on lead roles. She went from strength to strength from there on, performing at the Metropolitan Opera, then on to Italy for major roles. She broke through big in 1949 when she took over a lead role from a performer who had fallen ill in Die Walker and triumphed. Callas' voice was often described, but hard to capture in mere words. As the New Yorker wrote in 1995, the agility, volume, and expressiveness of her singing caused excitement everywhere, while the actual sound of her voice, which was unusual and in some ways unbeautiful, occasioned differences of opinion. Nevertheless, the label diva seemed tailor-fit for her. Though she was always professional, she was known for being a prima donna who wanted as many curtain calls and spotlights as she could get. Time in 1956 characterized her manner as follows. On stage, Callas' thirst for personal acclaim is insatiable. Meanwhile, she struggled with her weight throughout the 1950s and lost a significant amount that may have contributed to the weakening of her singing voice. Her Time profile said she went from 202 pounds to 135 pounds in 3 years. Singers learn to sing with their body, Scorca says. Changing your body means you have to learn to sing all over again. The instrument is the body. Callas continued performing across Europe for over a decade and eventually had a brief semi-retirement when she fell for Aristotle Onassis in 1959. She eventually performed again from 1964 to 1965 and said farewell to the stage after what the New Yorker said was a disastrous concert tour in 1973 and 1974.